let's really talk about Wuthering Heights because I have a lot to say. Going in, I genuinely had no idea what to expect. I've barely heard anything about this one. I didn't know the director, I didn't know the writer, I hadn't even heard of the book it was based on. The only reason I bought a ticket was because I saw Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi's names on the poster. Now, I haven't really heard of Jacob Elordi before seeing the poster, but I've always been a big Margot Robbie fan. Whether it's her chaotic scene-stealing energy as Harley Quinn in the DCU or her iconic role in The Wolf of Wall Street, she's someone I think brings presence to almost everything she touches. So I went in optimistic, not overhyped, not expecting a masterpiece, but hoping to be surprised, hoping this will be some sweeping, emotional, devastating romance that will pull me in and rake me in a gay way. Instead, I thought this movie was terrible. I really did. It's one of the most boring, tedious, and generally mean-spirited romance films I've seen in a long time. Let's start with what works, because there are positives, just not many. First, it is absolutely gorgeous. The cinematography is immaculate. The production design is incredible. The locations, those bleak, windswept landscapes and dimly lit interiors are stunning. Every frame looks meticulously crafted. It has that prestige period drama aesthetic where you can tell a lot of money and care went into how it looks. The camera lingers on moors and stormy skies in a way that feels painterly. From a purely visual standpoint, this movie is impressive. Second, the performances are really good. Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi both fully commit. Robbie brings emotional intensity and vulnerability to Kathy, and Elordi throws himself into Heathcliff's brooding, unstable energy. You can see the effort. You can see that they're trying to ground these characters in something real. They're not phoning it in. If anything, they're doing the best they can with material that doesn't always support them. And that's kind of where the positives stop. This is a very loose adaptation of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I haven't read the novel myself, but from everything I've heard, the film strays pretty far from the source material. Key themes like class tension, generational trauma, and the complexity of Heathcliff's background are either toned down, altered, or reframed in ways that feel modernized rather than faithful. And when you're adapting a literary classic, that's dangerous territory. The built-in audience for this movie is people who love the book. If you change too much, you risk alienating the very fans who showed up because of the name. From what I can tell, all of those fans are not happy, and they get why. Some of the changes don't feel like bold reinterpretation. They feel like the story being reshaped into something more conventional and trendy. That leads me to my biggest issue. This movie feels more interested in being edgy and stylish rather than being emotionally coherent. It leans heavily into dramatic sex stuff, chaotic moments without building enough emotional foundation. Scenes feel designed to shock or provoke rather than deepen our understanding of the character. The film favors spectacle and aesthetic over storytelling. At times, it almost feels like it's trying to reinvent the story visually instead of actually earning its emotional beats. And the tone is just so mean. I won't spoil anything, but the places this story goes are deeply unpleasant. Not in a tragic, beautifully devastating way, not in a way that makes you reflect on the darkness of love, just unpleasant. Characters lash out in ways that feel extreme without nuance, especially Heathcliff. Elordi does a strong job performance-wise, but the writing gives him a version of the character that feels chaotic without depth. He becomes exhausting to watch. There's validity, but not enough vulnerability to balance it. The chemistry between Heathcliff and Kathy also didn't work for me. Their relationship is supposed to be this all-consuming obsessive bond, something intense and something haunting, but here I didn't feel that magnetic pull. Their connection felt underdeveloped, or at least not as emotionally layered as it needed to be. There are big dramatic declarations, but they don't hit because the groundwork isn't solid. And then there's the pacing. This movie feels long. Even if the runtime isn't outrageous, it feels like it is. Scenes linger far past the point of emotional impact. There are stretches where it feels like nothing is evolving, just beautifully shot misery playing out in slow motion. A romance, especially a tragic one, should make you feel passion, heartbreak, longing. I mostly felt drained and bored. To make matters worse, the soundtrack choices are jarring. Especially in a period piece like this, there are moments where the music completely clashes with the tone and setting, pulling you out instead of immersing you deeper. It adds to that feeling that the film doesn't fully know what identity it wants. By the end, I wasn't moved, I wasn't devastated, I wasn't even angry in an energized way, I was just tired. It's frustrating because technically so much of this movie is well made. The production value is high, the actors are committed, the visuals are stunning, but none of that matters if the story doesn't connect, if the emotional core feels hollow, if the experience of watching it feels like a chore instead of something transformative. This isn't the film I will ever rewatch. It's not enjoyable, it's not rewarding, it's just cold, tedious, and in my opinion, deeply unpleasant. So overall, despite the beautiful cinematography cinematography and strong performances, I really did not like this movie at all. It's one of the most disappointing theater experiences I've had in a while. Final grade, D.
How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
But that's just my take. I know this story has a huge legacy and a lot of passionate fans, so I'm genuinely curious. What did you guys think of Wuthering Heights? Did it work for you emotionally? Did the changes from the book bother you, or did you like the modernized approach? I'd love to hear different perspectives because maybe there's something I'm missing here. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next review. Goodbye.